My screen clear, no? Anna?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it is visible. You can proceed, please.
Okay. One moment. Be blessed. Be blessed by the divine. Good morning, everybody, once again. So today, as Anand explained, we will go through this topic: purpose, practice, and results of sky. So this is actually a book written by our Maharshi. So we will just we will go through this one. If you are a practitioner of Vedatriyam, you will know what are those things in this. It's like a refresher for all of us. So today, what we are going to discuss is we are going to talk about physical exercises, and then we'll just briefly discuss about what is Kaya Kalpa, and then what are the meditation practices, what are the introspection practices, what is Brahma Jnana, which is a realization of divine. So what are the practices to live in harmony? How can we have a prosperous life? What is consciousness and genetic center? And how can we support through service after learning all these things, which is devised by Maharishi? It is basically like Manavalakkale, which is simplified Kundalini Yoga. Maharishi has given this in this 9 topics. So let us go through this one by one. First, let us start with physical exercise. As we all know that we need a sound body, a sound mind in a sound body. We need a very good health in order to do anything in this world. So first, before going there, first let us briefly think about what is human being or how human being got evolved. The human we did not come directly from the nature. Actually, we came through a evolution of right from the single cell organism through transformation, mutation, up to this level, which is we are having the 6th sense, which is human being. Actually, this has taken millions of years of this process. In fact, we came after being animals. So these animal instincts or the beastly qualities, they remain within us. So it cannot be totally removed, because this is since we came through this evolution process, we have these beastly qualities which is within us. So how to take care of this, or how to handle this beastly qualities? Because whenever we are emotional, we have this beastly qualities, it gets out of us. Because these qualities are dormant within us, it's coming out at the time when it should not come out. Okay. So how can we handle this? When there is a love, compassion, and sacrifice, and benevolence, we have peace, happiness, and contentment within us. So when we have this quality of love and compassion, these beastly qualities will not come out of us. So can it be done easily? No, it cannot be done very easily, because we have millions of years of storage or this imprint. So it is not very easy to get rid of this, but it is not difficult also. It is not easy, but it is not very difficult. So what our Maharishi has given, he has understood this very clearly, and like a psychiatrist, he has provided us the solution. Because see, as we know, in any industry, if you want to resolve a problem, you should know what is the problem first. So Maharishi has understood what is the problem. Basically, he understood the problem, and then he devised the methods to handle this issue. Normally, we have lots of, maybe thousands and thousands of books available in the internet now. After the digital world, we have n number of books which can teach us about all these things. But unfortunately, only bookish knowledge is not sufficient enough to handle this. We need practices also. So what is called in Tamil Bodhane Margam is nothing but preaching. Sadhane Margam, which is nothing but practices. So what Maharishi has done is he has devised in all the things in proper way. By practice, we can handle this. So as we discussed earlier, sound mind in a sound body. So in order to do everything or anything, we need a sound body. So first of all, we need to take care of our human body. So what Maharishi has given is he has devised simplified physical exercise, which will deal with the physical health. So what we have is as the practitioners, you know what are we have 9 types of exercises for all parts of the body, which is given by our Maharishi, like hand exercise to take care of hand, then leg exercise, then neuromuscular breathing exercise. So if you just look at the neuromuscular breathing exercise, maybe Muthu sir has taken one session on this breathing for the lungs itself. So we know that everybody, all practices, there are number of practices for breathing exercise like pranayama, etc., etc. But the diaphragm, which is acting as a pump for the lungs, Maharishi has understood what is this exactly, how it can help us, and he has devised this this neuromuscular breathing exercise because it's very evident from the United Nations and many studies that most of the people or a majority of the people we don't breathe properly, which means we hardly use a very small percentage of capacity of our lungs. So this breathing exercise, neuromuscular breathing exercise, helps us in improving the capacity of the lung because the toxin gets out of the body. The majority of the toxin should go through out when we breathe out. If you don't breathe out, it will go. It will get has to get through the skin. And since we live in the Middle East where we don't have sweating, so then we will load our kidney. So this breathing exercise is very important, and we have learned this through this when we started the practice of stay. And then we have the eye exercise, then Kapalabhati, then we have Maharasana part 1 and part 2 to take care of our spine. And then we have the acupressure just to control or to avoid the blocks due to the short circuit of energy in our body. And then the last one is massaging. So when we do these exercises regularly, our physical health improves and which will lay the foundation for our next practices. Because when we have to do meditate, when we have to sit in a place for more than 20 minutes, many of us are now not used to even sitting on the floor. We are used to sit on the chair. So it's very easy, sorry, it's very difficult to sit for a position. Even the Sukhasana has become Dukhasana, like Balasar has told many times jovially. So these exercises will help us in improving our physical health. So once our physical health is improved, then Maharishi has given these practices, Kaya Kalpa, which is for our life force. So actually, Kaya Kalpa is one of the best or the best course in Vedatriyan. Actually, here Maharishi has again, like a doctor, like a scientist, he has understood what are the needs, and then he has given this. So what we do, actually, we need food to live because most of our energy is coming from the food only. So what we do, we overeat and get into trouble. That is it. So how this food is converted into energy, we need to understand. So the food is converted into 7 dhatus, which is food is converted to juice, blood, flesh, fat, bone marrow, and suklam, which is sexual vital fluid, SVF. So what is Kaya Kalpa? Kaya means body, Kalpa means everlasting, or it is like a Markandeya, there is no death, it is longevity, not having an end. So what Kaya Kalpa does is, it makes our body, or it makes us look young always. Even a 50-year-old can look like a 30-year-old or 20-year-old. So that this Kaya Kalpa practices help us to maintain our youth, our vigor. This course has to be attended separately, so we will not discuss much in detail about how the Kaya Kalpa practices are done or learned, because Maharishi has designed in such a way that we have to attend theory followed by the practice. So this investment of 3 to 4 hours by everybody, which is going to be very, very helpful for all of us to take care of our life force. So what we do is we do simple exercise, which is going to take 4 minutes in the morning and 3 minutes in the evening. So many of us say that I don't have time. I'm very busy. I'm very busy. But this 7 minutes or 8 minutes of investment every day will yield fruitful results, not only for us, but for our next generation also, because we are all connected with our next generation. So what are the benefits of Kaya Kalpa? Since we know that we discuss about Kaya Kalpa, we should know what are the benefits also in order to do this on a regular basis. And then by understanding, see, when we understand the benefit of something, we will try to apply and do this instead of simply, if many people say this is good, that is good, we start 1 or 2 days or 1 week, 10 days, and then we drop it. But that should not be the case. So if you look at the benefits of Kaya Kalpa, in Kaya Kalpa, we strengthen our nerves, because any issue in the body, like the cells in the skin, it replenishes itself in 20 days. Like this, all the organs. But the nerve cells, once it is damaged, there is no way to replenish it, because the life of the cell is 100 years in nerves. So we have to take care of our nervous system, and this benefits this Kaya Kalpa. It helps us to strengthen our nervous system. And it does, what it does is it improves the quantity and quality of the SVF, because we know the SVF is the storehouse of energy, which is nothing but like an electrolyte in a battery cell. It improves the health also, and they have found out that especially for students, it improves the memory power. And then if we practice Kaya Kalpa regularly, we can have healthy children, so that our next generations also will get benefited. And also it helps in the spiritual development. So this energy has to be handled properly. And Maharishi has given this wonderful practice of Kaya Kalpa, through which we can regulate this and get benefited. And after Kaya Kalpa, what we are being taught is meditation. So what Maharishi has given is, he has explained very clearly in this book on what is the meditation. So what is the purpose of meditation? The purpose of meditation is to regulate mind. And we have to bring the mind to very subtle levels, so that we can understand the imperceptibles. So one will think, what are the imperceptible things we have? So we have divine state, which is imperceptible, magnetism, consciousness, and mind. These are the imperceptible things in this world, which we cannot see through our eyes, which has to be realized only, which cannot be seen. And now let us discuss something very briefly about magnetism. So what is a magnet? Magnet is two words, mag plus net, which means a huge mesh. So magnetism works in a manner of large net, encompassing and holding together everything within its vast fold. So we have understood about this. We have used we have got benefited from this magnetism. When we have radio, this internet, everything works in the principle of magnetism only. So magnetism is very important. And how magnetism works within us, actually. So human body the magnetism in human body is called biomagnetism because it is in a living organism. Okay. So what it does is the biomagnetism circulates throughout the body, and when the biomagnetism passes through the human brain, it comes out as a mind. So out of all creatures in this universe, we the human are being gifted with this wonderful tool of mind. We have to use this mind properly. It should not be like a knife in the hand of a 2-year-old child, which can damage itself or damage anything. It should be like a knife in the hand of a skillful surgeon who can give or who can save thousands of lives in his lifetime. So Maharishi has clearly understood what is mind, because this being imperceptible through his practices from younger age. He understood what is mind, even though many of the sages or scholars, time immemorial, maybe 2000 years back also, they have written a lot of things about mind. What is mind, how this functions. We have not, or we are not able to understand this properly because those have not been written in a very, very simple term which can be understood by the current generation. So what they have done is, if you read through Tirumular and all those things, maybe 2000 years back, these things are explained, but unfortunately, during those days, whatever they have understood and thought, they have written, but which is not, we do not have that kind of time and energy to understand these things. So what Maharishi has done is, he has decodified or demystified that, and he gave it in very, very simple terms. So when this mind, actually, when I was attending the youth empowerment program, how this has been explained very simply by Maharishi. So even a 14-year-old or 15-year-old can understand very well about the mind. So that is beauty of our Maharishi. So when a 14-year-old, 15-year-old boy or girl can understand very well about mind, as explained by Maharishi, so we the elders who are maybe 30, 40 plus can easily understand about the mind. So this is the simplicity of Maharishi, and we need to actually get benefited from this simplicity. So what is the mind? Since you know mind, mind functions, and the functioning is actually, it can be monitored by something called EEG, electroencephalograph. So the frequency of the mind can be measured by this device. So what is this practice of meditation? So practice of meditation is nothing but the practitioner is able to delve deep into the working of mind. And this is very important feature of our simplified Kundalini Yoga, because the practices lead us to the how to perceive the imperceptible, so that we can delve deeper into our own mind. So if you look at no human, actually no human is devoid of mind, but this mind remains as a mystery to the scientist, because it is, see, there is a lot of research and development happening in this world. The See, what was not clear 50 years back has been made very, very clear now. So the research and development, or the science, has developed so much in this world. It is very easy to research the perceptible, because whatever we perceive through our senses, we are able to do research on this and give a lot of thesis or submission, so that it can be understood. Unfortunately, for understanding the imperceptible, which is divinity, magnetism, consciousness, mind, there is no scientific things which has come out, because science needs proof, empirical proof. Unfortunately, there is no proof for the imperceptible, because it has to be perceived by us only. So how can it be done is, we can do this inference through our sixth sense. So what is inference? What is the difference between assumption and inference? Actually, assumption means whether it is correct or not, we assume something, okay? But Inference is not like that. The inference is very different because the inference is actually the experience felt by us through our sixth sense. So inference is very difficult, but it can be practiced actually. So what is then let us discuss about habits and desires. Due to this habit, we have become a slave of this habit because due to this continuous or the daily practice, we are just getting into this habits. So we have to break through this vicious cycle of habit because if you see, for example, if eating for when we are hungry is good, but eating whenever we see food is not good. So like this, the habits get us into trouble. So the mind, as we discussed earlier, it works in the frequency. Actually, there are four types of frequencies: beta, alpha, theta, and delta. So this beta frequency, which is 14 to 40, which is nothing but in an emotional state of mind. Normally, human beings work in this frequency of 14 to 40, where we use mostly the sensory perceptions and we are led by emotions, experiences, or expectations. So, what Maharishi has done is he has devised these meditation practices to bring our frequency down from 14 up to 1. So what Maharishi has said is the other end of the mind is divinity. So we have to go subtle and subtle. Our frequency has to come down so low so that we can understand the divinity. So Maharishi has given the practices. When we get initiated in Agna, the frequency starts coming down below 14, which is nothing but 7 to 13 frequency, alpha frequency. So when we start practicing this, we will be in a subtle frequency, and then we can bring it down from 4 to 7, and also this Turyatidam brings it up from 1 to 3. So when we are able to achieve this low frequency, we can understand the divinity, and by this we will be able to acquire the qualities of divinity, which is nothing but love and compassion. So what Maharishi has written here is, what is the purpose of these meditation practices? Is to propagate the message of spirituality and help us or the individual realize self as well as the purpose of birth. So we know that what is the purpose of birth because whoever has attended the class, Muthu sir, we know that what is the purpose of birth. Before coming to sky, we were not very clear about the purpose of birth. Many people will answer, I have to become this, I have to become that, I have to earn this much, I have to earn that much, whatever is there. But we were not knowing what is the purpose of birth, which is God realization. And Maharishi has given this beautiful explanation why we need to understand this or why we need to know the purpose of birth. So this is being developed, or this is being helped by this meditation practices. So far, we have seen what is the physical exercise, which is for body, and then for life force, he has given Kaya Kalpa, and then for mind, this meditation practices he has devised. So he has given this beautiful poem, which is translated, but if you read in Tamil, it gives the very clear meaning, but when it translates, something gets lost. So when all the thoughts merge into divine state, and the mind is filled with awareness and peace, the realization that self is not, but the divine state dawns. The body and mind engaged in this practice regularly desist from seeking pleasures unnecessary. He is not telling that we should not seek pleasures, but we need not seek unnecessary pleasures. The soul, rid of its burden of sins, shines forth. Sorry, that's a spelling mistake. The veil of ego lasts forever. So the ego is only a veil which is actually blocking us. So we can get rid of this ego when we practice this meditation continuously. So what we have done is we have the exercise, for physical body, then life force and mind. Now, what we can do further to achieve our goal of birth? Maharishi has given the introspection practices. First, let us briefly discuss about what is the need for introspection. We all human beings need to understand self, or we should start realizing the self and the greatness of human birth. But after understanding this, what we have to do? We have to get rid of our sins and purify our soul, okay, so that the soul gets liberated, which is Maharishi has used this word. We have to do this for soul emancipation. Sorry, emancipation. Emancipation is nothing but liberation, mukti, moksha, whatever we call this. So, what is introspection? Actually, introspection is nothing but to look within. So what we think is everything is. We think that everything is outside. For example, happiness is outside. But when we start practicing, or when we start understanding the sky practices, we understand that what is introspection. Introspection is nothing but to look within. So what Maharishi has done is he has devised us the introspection practices like a psychiatrist. So he starts with the practice. First, we start about analysis of thought, because thought is the basic foundation of everything. Because we know thought, word, and deed. Whatever we do, initially it starts as a thought only. So when we do the analysis of thought and we start practicing this properly, we can get rid of unnecessary thoughts. And then if you don't do this properly, our next stage is what he has given is the moralization of desire, because unfulfilled thoughts. Okay. So the desire is important, because the desire to live itself cannot be removed. So we have to only moralize. So we need to distinguish between the wants and the need. We have to take care of the need and we have to moralize the wants. So if we are not able to fulfill all our desires, what happens is we get angry. So next stage, Maharishi has given this called neutralization of anger. So what Maharishi is telling is we cannot eliminate anger. So here he says neutralization of anger. So we have to neutralize the anger so that it is not getting accumulated like a tsunami within us. So next, he has given eradication of worries. So here he talks about eradication. He did not talk about we cannot eradicate the anger, but we can eradicate the worry. So worry, in Tamil it is called kavalai. Kavalai means, what he says is karpane valai. So this is an imaginary thing which we actually understand by ourselves. So this is nothing but worry. So what Maharishi says is we have to eradicate the worry, because worry is the thing which will permanently drain our energy on a continuous basis. In Tamil, Kavalai, there is one device which is to take water used for the irrigation. So in olden days, when there was no electricity or pumping system, what they do is, those people are very smart. So they have devised a big vessel. The vessel, when it is tied and when the bullock cart goes around the well, this vessel goes inside the well and brings the water and empties out. So that vessel is called kavalai. So like it empties the water from the well, or it uses for irrigation. Maharishi says that this worry will empty or it will drain all our energy within us. So we have to eradicate the worries. And then the last thing what he says in the introspect practices is who am I? So this actually, all the spiritualists, all the famous saints and scholars, time immemorial, when they start chasing who am I, they have given us all their teachings and we are getting benefited. So who am I is one of the important things which Maharishi has given. So now we have this physical exercise for life force, kaya kalpa, for mind, and then we start and we have learned about introspection practices also. So next, after learning all these things, what Maharishi says is we need to know what is something called Brahmajnana practice. Actually, we will not discuss much about Brahmajnana practice in detail because this is a special course before we get into, before we become the master or the Arulnidhi. So, what is Brahmajnana? Brahmajnana practice is nothing but divine realization. So, this is one of the very important things which was given by Maharishi, because if you look at the olden days, Bhakti Yoga, this is the start of everything. First, we start believing. So when we are child, we are taught about Bhakti Yoga. And then when we get older and when our consciousness is developed, we can understand. Then we have to understand what is Brahma. Why these religions are formed is the religions are formed only to guide us through the principles of divinity and then to lead a harmonious life. But unfortunately, it is not happening nowadays because the concept is misunderstood. So what Maharishi has given is we have caught hold of the divinity, but we have forgotten the principle behind this divinity. So what Maharishi says is this is a poem. The eternal space is the self-compressive force intensifying on itself when the particle arises. The friction as it rotates in the absolute space gives rise to ubiquitous magnetic waves. So magnetism, imperceptible, turns into tanmatras of fire. And don't be awed, Panchabhutas from atoms derive. Magnetism in living things, the mind becomes knowing this realization is nothing but Brahmajnana. So this one we normally use this in the prayer. So this Brahmajnana practice is given to us, the sky practitioner, before we become master. So we can learn Brahmajnana in detail after completion of all the introspection courses. And we will be having this session, and we will let you know when this next session is there in English, because we had some time back in Tamil. We will do this in English also. Then after knowing Brahmajnana also, why we are doing all these practices? We are doing all these practices in order to live in harmony. Basically, we have to have a harmonious life because God did not create us to suffer. God created us, the human being with the sixth sense, to enjoy the full benefits of this nature. Because the nature actually, it creates everything and then only it created the human being. So unfortunately, we the human being, we are not able to, we forgot this, and we are getting into all kinds of trouble actually. So what is harmony? We need to live in harmony because we have to take care of our needs. Okay, and then we have to see, in order for to have the peace, we should have tolerance, adjustment, and sacrifice. Because Maharishi has given this also. Because family life, family harmony is very important. Unless otherwise we are in harmony, we cannot make this world harmonious. So, like it is not the bottom up, top down approach which many people try to think that it is very effective, because when the law is passed, when there is a very monitoring or the very strict monitoring of the law, we feel that, or we think that it will be followed easily, but that is not the case. So what Maharishi has given is the bottom up approach. So if the individual is peaceful, he can bring peace in his family, and then this will percolate to the area or the surrounding, and ultimately we can achieve the world peace. This is the idea for this simplified Kundalini Yoga, in order to improve or in order to bring the individual peace. Actually, what is happening, because of our imprints, we have this something called ego. Actually, what we have is we have three blemishes in us: ego, imprints, and illusion. So, in spite of all our elders giving everything to live in peace and harmony. There are a lot of scriptures, there are a lot of books, there are a lot of practices, but still we are not able to live in harmony. Why? Why this is happening? If you start questioning yourselves, we will understand why this is happening. And Sky, Simplified Kundalini Yoga, this is actually this Sky organization is working towards for upliftment of people from this kind of problems to lead a spiritual life towards God realization. So in this, what happens? We all human being, we have these three blemishes or three impurities called ego, imprint, and illusion. Actually, what Maharishi says is God plus these three impurities is man. Or man, when he gets rid of all these three impurities, man is equivalent to God. This is what he says. So what this is happening, we need to understand this temperaments, what these three blemishes can do or what it can do. So see, the main thing is ego. The ego, what it does is, ego is nothing but I and mind. So what Maharishi says is, this couple, I and mind, they give birth to 6 children, which is 6 evil temperaments, nothing but greed, anger, miserliness, immoral sexual passion, vanity, and vengeance. So when these 6 evil temperaments are there within us, what we do, we commit these 5 sins, which is dishonesty, thievery, theft, murder, rape, and gambling. So these are the sinful deeds which we commit, and then we keep on building our imprints or the negative imprints within us. So what Maharishi has done is, he has given the practices. If you do this properly, our practices, we can change or we can convert all the 6 evil temperaments into good ones. Like, for example, greed can be transformed to contentment, and then anger to tolerance, miserliness to philanthropy, immoral sexual passion to chastity, vanity can be to parity, vengeance is to forgiveness. When we are able to convert our 6 temperaments or the evil temperaments then into these 6 noble qualities, we will be going towards God. Like Maharishi says, the other mind, the other end of the mind is God. We will be developing the quality of divinity, which is nothing but love and compassion. So if we have this love and compassion, we will be living in harmony with our family and with our neighbors also. So then if we do all these things, all the practices which are devised by Maharishi, what we can achieve is, we will be able to lead a prosperous life. So actually, the prosperous life, here there will be welfare in the family. So there will not be much dispute between the husband and wife. They will start living in harmony by observing the harmonious relationship between the parents. The children also will be able to develop that habit. So we see, when we get rid of ego and expectation, we will have a very peaceful family life. Actually, the issue is because of expectation. When there is expectation, there is always disappointment. So Maharishi has given this also. We should not have any expectation. And Maharishi has given some of the quotes. Okay, we can just we'll go through this. He says about regarding the criminals, there are no born criminals. Kutravali, Pavi, endru yarum illai ulagil. The society is at fault. So let us try and amend our ways and perform our duties conscientiously. So let us find happiness in helping others physically, financially, and spiritually without expectation and borrowing. So this is one of the quotes. And then one more thing is, if we start looking flaw in others all the time, which will ruin our own mind. So this also we should not do. So thinking constantly of anything, object, action, character, or individual produces changes in keeping with the nature of thought. So our thought is very important. This is also we have to realize. So when we realize this, we will develop the habits of forgiving, forgetting, and blessing. Actually, so when we have this habit of forgive, forget, and blessings, we will be able to live a prosperous life. And in order to do this, we have to know about this consciousness and genetic center also. So, what is consciousness? Consciousness, we know all this. Consciousness is one of the divine quality which is existing within us, which is helping us to realize the divinity. So then it is not possible to attain God realization in the absence of knowledge regarding the magnetism. And this is what Maharishi says. And it is not possible to understand the consciousness in the absence of knowledge regarding the genetic center. So magnetism and genetic center, we need to understand this very clearly. So what is genetic center? Like for us, for any circulation, there is a center. Like since our body, we have a biomagnetic circulation. Genetic center is the center for the biomagnetic circulation, where the magnetism circulates within our physical body. So this genetic center, actually, it is near the place where our SVF is also stored. So what it does is it is like the storehouse of energy. So the functions of genetic center are twofold. So what it does is it is compressing and storing the information in the form of imprints, and it also expands the imprints through the thoughts and gives and the inner vision. So since it records all we see, okay, it's very important. So we actually have to make this genetic center pure. Why is because the quality of genetic center determines the quality of the individual. So if you have a pure genetic center, we have a very good human being. So we have to purify our genetic center, which to get rid of the sins. So these practices of Maharishi will help us to purify our genetic center. And this is the best gift for our next generation, actually. What we people are thinking is we have to actually accumulate a lot of wealth for our next generation. But unfortunately, that is not true. Pure genetic center is the best gift for our next generation because we are always connected with our sibling or our next generation through the genetic center. So this will be, we can understand very easily when we attend the classes of Sky, and when we learn this, we will realize how important it is to purify the genetic center, and we will start the practices. And after doing this, what we can do? We have learned everything, and why we have to learn everything? It is not for our own thing. Okay, we have to do the service also. Like Maharishi says, in spite of knowing everything, why do humans suffer? If we start understanding why do humans suffer, then we will be realizing what we have to do. Even though many of the every religion or every political system all over the world, and there are a lot of literatures with the teachings of wise and very knowledgeable persons, we still remain in misery. Why we are having this? Because of fear, because of the misgivings or the misunderstanding, and the lack of peace and amity. This is happening. So when we have these practices of Sky or Manavalakkale, what it does is it is actually designed with the noble intent of helping people to extricate themselves from the depths of their misery by following the path of virtue and piety. This is what Maharishi has given. So when we practice this Sky practices, we can help not only us but also the people around us, actually. So Maharishi has given this 14-point Vedatrium principles, which is designed for helping the others also. And what Maharishi has given is fivefold moral principles and twofold moral principle. Actually, we actually get this, we actually recite this twofold moral principle after every meditation. Today also, Rajan Babu, I in my lifetime will not harm anybody, either physically or mentally. So, to the possible extent, I will remove the pain of others. So, this is not only not by mere words we have to tell every day during the meditation. We should feel this and we should practice this. When we tell every day, it gets recorded into in our genetic center, and we start helping people. Or whenever there is a problem, we will try to help people. So let us all practice all the principles given by Maharishi. And if please inform your friends also about this thing. So let them all join and then get benefited by the scientific psychiatric explanations given by our Maharishi, and then attain the attain the goal of birth, which is nothing but God realization. Thank you for this opportunity. Be blessed by the divine.